2 nights ago on Friday, October 10th, 2025, I had a great revelation through a dream, a prophetic dream connecting to... Hey guys, Brandon Dawson here from the Tribe of Christians. Today's date is Sunday, October 12th, 2025. So 2 nights ago on Friday, October 10th, 2025, I had a great revelation through a dream, a prophetic dream connecting to the 2 witnesses, the 3rd temple in Jerusalem, as well as a revelation shown to me, the false prophet, exactly what he looked like, all that I am going to reveal in this message. The last 10 years or so of me operating in the prophetic ministry, in our ministry with having dreams, visions, revelations, all these things, not once have I ever had a dream where I saw the Antichrist or the false prophet. Now, I have seen forms of them, but not in their human form. I've had dreams about the dragon. I've had dreams about the temple, other different things. I have even had a dream about the 2 witnesses. And if you haven't seen that video yet, I would encourage you to go to our social media channels, YouTube page, whatever. It's still there. It's published there. It's about 11 minutes long. I go into great detail about the 2 witnesses in that aspect. And I'm going to touch a little bit on that because they are connected in the stream of what I saw. But again, never have I ever seen anything remotely close to the false prophet until 2 nights ago. So this tells me that we are close, that the times are upon us, that we're ever so close, and things can really happen at any given moment. And that's just how unprecedented the time is what we live in. So I can feel it. I know many of you guys feel it at heart. You know that there are changes that are happening, that are already happening in the spiritual atmospheres, in the earth. You can sense it, and you just know that great darkness is over the earth. But we also know that now we have a greater opportunity, unlike ever any other time before, for the church to really testify about Jesus, especially with things that are ahead of us that we're going to be going into. So I'm going to go ahead and share the dream with you guys. I'm not going to add anything to it. I am not going to take anything away from it. I'm just going to share it with you guys exactly what I saw, what I heard, and that's it. You guys can think what you want. You can believe me or don't believe me, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm just putting this out there. So the way the dream began was I was in Jerusalem, and the 3rd Jewish temple had been built. It was standing and it had been built. It was there. So this was, I believe, the beginning, early stages of the 7-year tribulation period. If not, it was leading right into it. So I don't know the exact date or time or anything like that. I just know that the 3rd temple had been built. I was in Jerusalem, and what it began to happen was there were crowds of people. There were some individuals that began to be emboldened and began to preach the gospel message. They began to testify about Jesus and began to proclaim Jesus. And at this time, there was a particular woman. She was right around probably about 68, maybe 70 years old. She was an elderly black woman, and she began to testify about Jesus, to share her testimony and the gospel message. And she was just very charismatic. And so she started to draw crowds to her, and she was...
أفضل برنامج لإنشاء الصور إلى مقاطع فيديو باستخدام الذكاء الاصطناعي من أدي ماكور. ما عليك سوى تحميل الصور وإدخال المطالبة.
Preaching right out of the temple courts. So not inside the temple itself, but in the outer areas where the temple courts were at. And she did this 3 times a day. She did it right after the morning meal, probably 9, 8 a.m. She did it right around noontime, after lunch, and then she did it right around 5 or 6 o'clock p.m. near the dinner time. So she was preaching and testifying, and crowds of people began to gather to hear what she had to say, and these were like maybe anywhere between 50 to 100 people were beginning to gather to hear her. And so I went to listen to hear what she had to say, and it was very encouraging. She was preaching the truth. She was sharing the gospel. She was talking about Jesus, and she had not quite signs of miracles, but she had authority in her testimony. And so while she was preaching, there was a man that stood up among this crowd of people, and he was a Caucasian man, and he proclaimed himself to be Elijah, and that he was one of the two witnesses. And as soon as he began to do this, he started to distract people away from the gospel, away from the testimony of Jesus. It was a distraction. He was a false prophet. And then I saw the real witness, not both of them. They both were not there. It was just one of them, and I'll tell you who it was in just a second. He suddenly stood up among the crowd of people, and he confronted the man who proclaimed to be Elijah. And he said, "You are not Elijah, and you are not one of the witnesses, because I am one of the witnesses." And he was, I'll tell you, I'm not going to go into detail in just a minute. I'll get into that in just a second. And then he cursed the man. He cursed him. He put a curse. A plague fell upon the man and became immediately sick and ill. And all of the people were in complete amazement and yet terrified at the scene that this happened. So when this happened and he began to take over and began to preach and testify about Jesus, then suddenly before me, I saw as clear as daylight, and I just knew exactly who it was, the false prophet. That's right, the one that stands with the Antichrist, that's able to perform all these false miracles and whatever. I saw him. Now, I was not given his name, but I can give you his description, exactly what I saw, what he looked like. And so what he was a Caucasian male. He was in his 60s, probably about 60 years old. He was not, he didn't look Middle Eastern. He did not look like a Muslim. He did not look Israeli. He didn't look anything like that. He looked probably, if anything, European, white, Caucasian skin, about 60 years old, and probably between the heights of 5'8" and 6 feet. And he was a bit chubby. He had a round face, and he had shoulder-length hair. That was from his jawline, maybe between his jawline and his shoulders, and he had white, gray hair that was actually looked silver. So it was like a cross between gray and silver, and it was straight hair, very straight, very thick, silver gray hair to his shoulder lengths. And his eye color, he didn't have brown eyes. They weren't blue. It was kind of like almost like a hazel type of color. And I can just see it in his eye. And he wasn't wearing anything of like the Pope or Catholic, Roman Catholic type clothing. So there was nothing about this man that told me that he was Israeli, he was a Muslim, or from the Pope. I didn't get any of those indications. It was something completely different, entirely different. And so again, about 60 years old, Caucasian male. He didn't have any wrinkles, no signs of old age, just a really round face. And so I didn't see the bottom half I didn't really see the bottom half or his hands or anything. The Bible talks about different signs about his right eye or right hand. Didn't see any of that. I just saw him just as in his normal form. So anyways, so that was, after I saw him, his appearance was like, this has gone on long enough. And it was like he was there to put an end to the witnesses. And that was the instinct that I got from there. Now, I didn't see both of the witnesses, although I know who they are. And if you haven't, like I said before, if you have not seen that video, it's on my channel. Go back and check it out. It's one of the very first publications I've got there. It's about 11 minutes long. But the two witnesses neither one of them are Elijah nor Moses. They're not Elijah nor Moses. One of them is in heaven right now. He is an Old Testament prophet, one of the minor prophets in the Old Testament. And he's waiting, and he'll come down after the rapture occurs. That's when he'll appear along with the other one. The other witness is a Gentile. He's a Caucasian white male who will come from America. He is an American. Now, he is alive and well, living right now. I cannot tell you who he is, but I know who he is. He knows who he is, but he doesn't have the authority. He does not have the authority or anything like that to be able to reveal who he is. He hasn't been given the signs yet. Those things are not going to start coming until probably, my guess is either right before the rapture, right before the tribulation period, or maybe right after it. But he's not a TV evangelist. He's not a pastor. He's not no one has any idea who he is. And when he appears, they're not going to say, oh, they're not even going to recognize him or know who he is. It is his testimony, and both of them. It will be their testimony of Jesus that gives them the power, the authority, and the anointing. And I've seen them do all kinds of incredible things. Not just fire that comes out of their mouths and devours their enemies, not just the plagues and everything else, but they perform miracles, lead many people to Jesus. They help to identify who the 144,000 witnesses are in Israel, right? From the 12,000 from each tribe of Israel. They're the ones who are given the authority and the revelation to do that and to put the seals and the marks on all of them when they get the revelation of Jesus. So anyways, if this doesn't tell you how close that we are to the times, we are just right around the corner. And like I said, I can feel the changes are on us. And I don't want you guys to be distracted by anything. Keep your eyes on Jesus. Keep your eyes on the gospel. Make sure you guys are really serving and loving your neighbors, your family members. And don't let any moment pass you by where you can fully just live out that faith for Jesus, because in the end, it's all going to come to an end, and we're going to wish that we had done more. We're going to wish that we had done much more for Jesus. And so that's why I always say, guys, run your race. If you're not running it, fight the good fight of faith. Run your race. So as always, guys, that's going to conclude. Stay encouraged whatever you do. Do not lose hope, and never, ever give up.
نشلني من مياه كثيرة، إنما الله يبدي نفسي من يد الهاوية لأنه يأخذني برأيك تهديني وبعد إلى مجد تأخذني فأخذني الرب إله السماء الذي أخذني من بيت أبي ومن أرض ميلادي أرسل من العلا فأخذني نشلني من مياه كثيرة لأنه عن قليل يأخذني صانعي أرسل من العلا فأخذني نشلني من مياه كثيرة إنما الله يبدي نفسي من يد الهاوية لأنه يأخذني برأيك تهديني وبعد.
All right, I guess I'm recording. It didn't tell me anything in my headset. Hold on, let me see what audio I'm on.
الذي أخذني من بيت أبي ومن أرض ميلادي.
It's telling me I'm on audio. I see audio playing, so hopefully it is. The little lights are on, blinking. So, all right. I have been waiting for the past 4 days to watch everyone else's videos to see what they're coming up with. Mine's simply math. And I'm seeing people jump to Hanukkah, jump to the day of the flood, which is October 31st, November the 1st. But I just can't get past the two witnesses and their 1,260 days. And so that is now. That time is now, the 13th through the 17th. And so I said, a lot of people are asking, hey, can you make a video? And I'm like, I don't know what else video to make. Mine's simply been a static timeline and going based off of numbers, not emotion, and not, I can't go against what the Bible says as far as time limits are concerned. And unless somebody can show me why God would take time away from the two witnesses, because we certainly don't see them. We don't see the two witnesses. I don't think they're coming in quietly. I think they're coming in loudly. We don't see the Antichrist yet. We don't know. He hasn't come on the scene. He hasn't revealed himself. We can surmise it's Jared Kushner, Trump, all these different things. I personally think it's Judas Iscariot himself. I think on the day of the rapture, those at least those two will rise, if not a lot more, is what I've been saying for a while. In that Moses has to rise. He is one of the two witnesses. And I think that that's why there was this dispute for his bones, was because he did appear at the Mount of Transfiguration, and Satan knows that this guy's going to be a thorn in his side during the tribulation, and so he was trying to get Moses out of the way. That's why he was trying to get those bones. He was going to put them somewhere where he could keep them locked away, but God hid those bones because Moses is one of the two witnesses. And so he knew he couldn't do anything about Elijah. Elijah had already ascended in a whirlwind much earlier, but Moses, he thought perhaps he could get him out of the way. That being said, the Antichrist can only come on the scene after the rapture. The two witnesses can only come on the scene after the rapture. So mathematically, without bringing a lot of emotion into it, which I know it's a very emotional time. I know people are very emotional. I just try to keep the numbers straight as I can. And at this moment, I can't see us going past the 17th. I've been saying that for, a while now. And it really does baffle me as to why I didn't notice this years ago. And we've always said it anyway, that nothing really needed to happen for the rapture to occur. We didn't think we were going to be brought up to the very, very wire, the very end. And it might not have anything to do with, who the last person is that will be saved. It might have everything to do with the last baby to be conceived. Because Jesus said that the heaven is full of little children running around. So it might not have anything to do with the last person might have already been saved. I think it's there is a number of humans that will be conceived. That moment, that flash of light happens, that will be the last one. There has to be a certain amount. So that being said, let's go into the pictures. See where we are. There we go. We are here right now on October the 13th. We're right here. Today, October the 13th, or Tishri 28, is a Wednesday. It is the day that just 4 weeks earlier, God created time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 weeks earlier, God created time. Now, the 17th is the last possible moment for the rapture to give the two witnesses their 1,260 days. And then they die. They lie dead in the street for 3.5 days. The exact same amount of time that Jesus was in the grave, 3.5 days, 84 hours. And so the only, and I don't see this as being correct, because I put the idea out there and many people are like, no, the time that they're dead, the 3.5 days, does not count as part of 1,260 days. Those are separate. So it would be 1,263.5 days in essence. So we're looking at October the 17th as being the last possible. Today, of course, we see that all of the hostages are being released. And so what's his name over at New News? I don't recall his first name. Ross. Is it Ross? Over at New News. that's what he's been tracking and done a very good job. And today is the day they will be screaming peace and safety, because all of those hostages will be released, and that kind of takes the leverage that Hamas had completely away from them, and they will be given safe passage out of there, and they will no longer be in control in that area. So very interesting that is happening today. We saw earthquakes line up, just huge ones, and it looks to me like, you know, a combination to a safe. This has to happen, and this has to happen, and it goes back and forth until the big one happens. The waves and the seas roaring, I believe, are the last thing that we are looking for in the Gospel of Luke as being what we will see before the rapture occurs. So I got to make a quick video. My daughter's in there with 2 babies now, and I got to get in there and help her with my granddaughter. All right. My brand new granddaughter, Layla Grace. That's her name. All right. October the 13th today. There are 84 hours on this side and 84 hours on this side. They are going to die on March 30th. I don't know what time, if they will duplicate when Jesus died or not. I would say that it would probably be earlier, because Jesus rises at 3 a.m. and I don't know who will be there to witness at 3 a.m. this event taking place. So it might actually be reversed, where they die at 3 a.m. and are risen at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And so that might be the 84 hours might be reversed on that instance. So again, just math. They're going to die on March 30th in 2029. That is Passover. That's when they have to die. If it waits, Israel will no longer be 77. They'll be 78. Because by hold on a second. Because by next year, you know, by May 14th, is it May 14th? Yeah, May 14th, they will turn 78. And all of everything the Bible has told us about when these events are going to take place will fall completely apart, and we will not understand any of this, in my opinion. At least I won't. I've never come to the point where there isn't something else. There's another I've come to the point where I cannot see another mathematical equation. I've literally been sitting around for 4 days watching other people's videos, looking at the math, and I can't get past this 1,260 days. I can't get past the Antichrist going in and proclaim himself to be God. He's not going to choose any other day. That's the day he's going to do it. And if that's the day he's going to do it, the 2 witnesses have to die. It doesn't tell us how long the Antichrist will be in charge for the first 3.5 years, but it does tell us the 2 witnesses, and the 2 witnesses will die here. The Antichrist will go in and proclaim himself to be God. There will be celebrations and presents traded and everything else because of this event. And then 84 hours later, they will rise in the sight of everyone. So we're here on October the 13th. We're in this 84-hour window, and we're coming up on October the 17th as being the last possible moment. There's no shortening of time. There's no weird stuff going. It's 1,260 days. That's what the Bible says. That's what's going to happen. I just don't know where to go, honestly, from here, unless the Holy Spirit shows me something different. Excuse me, this is where I am right here at this point. All right, let me skim through this. What do we have? We know the Feast of Dedication. In every instance that I can find the term Feast of Dedication in the Bible, it is referring to tabernacles. It is not referring to Hanukkah. I haven't been able to find it, and yet, because it's written in the book of Moses, which we know is Leviticus. He wrote the first 5 books, and in Leviticus is talking about the Feast of Tabernacles, not Hanukkah. back then. So when we get to John 10, we see this, and people are like, "Oh, that's Hanukkah." I don't see it. I don't see it as being Hanukkah, but piece of dedication from the Bible interprets the Bible. We're allowing this Jewish event called Hanukkah to be interpreted as. Now I'm not completely throwing it out. I mean, Hanukkah does exist. I do see December the 8th as being the 1335 days. I do see that, so I'm not throwing it out. I'm just trying to put this out there. Feast of Dedication, and it was winter. It appears to be tabernacles that it's talking about. I don't know. Now, the Jews right now are looking at Shemini Atzeret. I think that's today, right, for them? Mine was exactly 8 days ago. And so, that being said, if God's using the Hebrew calendar, then today is the day of the Rapture, Shemini Atzeret. Okay, so the witnesses, from what everyone has studied, here's the thing that I don't understand. We've got these two witnesses. They're going to die just as the Antichrist goes in, proclaim himself to be God, which he's going to do on March 30th of 2029. But then we say this thing where, well, the Antichrist had a great head wound and he came back to life, blah, 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 and he came back. But we don't read that. We don't read that time frame as being the same. The great head wound for me, and the reason they all wonder after him, is because it's Judas Iscariot. He had a great head wound. He hung himself. Talk about a great head wound. And so that's the one that I think it is. But their ministry is 1,260 days. I can't get around that number. March 30th, like I just showed you, March 30th, the day they die, 1,260 days subtracted earlier, is October the 17th. We are running out of time. I can't see us going much further than this. Let's see, from the day they blew the trumpets up on the mount for the very first time in 2,000 years was August 23rd. And to October 13th is 51 days. So we have 30 days and then that 21-day delay. I think that 21-day delay plays into this. Today would be the 21st day of a 21-day delay from September the 23rd. I'm not using Joshua's date. I'm using the date of the 8th year anniversary of the Revelation 12 sign. The Revelation 12 sign happened the night of September the 23rd, going into the 24th. That's now. That's a 21-day delay. So that right there makes sense that why Joshua would have seen that day, and many children around the world saw that day, and it was actually the 8th year anniversary of the Revelation 12 sign. So it made sense that would be a date. For me, this is the Day of Atonement. That's the Day of Atonement. So, but a 21-day delay would bring us to October the 13th. Yeah, this is the headline, or what I Googled. The Jews have not been able to blow the shofar on the Temple Mount 2,000 years, but this changed on August 23rd, 2025. We're seeing all these things that we've never seen before. We saw them sacrifice the red heifer on July 1st, and then out of nowhere, on the very same day, a Jewish guy finds the Apophis. Is it Apophis, or was it the other one? It wasn't Apophis. I don't recall. It might have been 3M Atlas, 3I Atlas. It might have been that one that he found. I believe it was, actually. So, but it's amazing how we're seeing things we're seeing things now that nobody's ever seen. It's been crazy. It's been absolutely crazy. Apophis is coming on April the 13th, just 14 days after Satan goes in, proclaiming himself to be God. 14 days. He's going to go in on March 30th. 14 days later, on April 13th, 2029, Apophis is coming in. Is it going to hit? Is it going to go? It doesn't really matter if it hits or not. If it goes by close enough, it's really going to mess things up on the planet as it goes by. So, don't you find that incredible that is also happening? And if this 1,260 days is a misunderstanding, which I don't think it is, then how can we go any further than October to then today through the 17th? How could we possibly go any further than that? From the blood moon on September the 7th, 40 days would be October the 17th. Every bit of math that I can calculate is coming to October the 13th and October the 17th. I wanted to show this for those who are saying it's not 1948, it's another year, 1950. Your math won't work. Israel has to be 80 years old when they flee from Israel. They have to be. On March 30th of 2029, Satan is going to go and proclaim himself to be God. When they say, when you see this, don't go down in your house to pick up anything. Don't do anything. The Lord will take care of you. You just take off. Go straight to Petra. That's it. Don't collect anything. Don't do anything, because what's going to happen on April 13th, 14 days later? Apophis. May 14th, 1948 is the exact year. The whole world recognizes that. It's the same thing we do, I think, it's the sliver moon, it's the full moon. If we're going to make the Jews jealous based on a date, it's going to be on their date. It's not going to be, well, the Jews had it wrong, so this is the date. This will make them jealous. They're not going to get jealous. It's not their date. It's not the date they're looking at. Today is the perfect date. It's Shemini Atzeret. Today is the perfect date for a rapture. It really is. I don't know what's happening in 3.5 days on October the 17th. I don't know what that would cause to bring them jealousy, aside from the fact that I think a lot of people are going to rise, except for the Jews. Those Jews will rise to go into the millennium. I think that would drive them to jealousy. But Israel will be 80. If you say 1949, Israel will be 79. It won't work. If you say 1950, Israel will be 78. It won't work. It doesn't fit. It has to fit. Mathematically, it has to fit. Again, people bring a lot of emotion into this stuff, and there's no emotion revolved around numbers. They're just straightforward. They tell you that whether you like them or not, that's what they are. That's why I don't know where to go after the 17th. I just don't know where at this point, unless the Holy Spirit reveals something new to me, you know.